Jacoby Ellsbury in center field will lead off, batting second and playing left field. Brett Gardner. Carlos Beltran, the DH, will hit third. Cleaning up the catcher, Brian McCann. Batting fifth and playing first base, Mark Teixeira. Good numbers against Estrada lifetime. Starlin Castro, the hero of yesterday's game, the second baseman, will bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing third base, Chase Headley. Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, will bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing right field, Aaron Hicks.
Get a look at Marco Estrada right here on the season. This will be his 10th start. Don't let that record fool you. The rest of the numbers are outstanding, as Marco Estrada has been a mainstay here for the last 2 years on that Blue Jay roster. And let's go ahead and give you the pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And as I said before, he's really an underrated starter. The Blue Jays ended up signing him to a 2-year deal. I think it was a great deal for the Blue Jays. He's going to make $12 million and then $14 million next year, so a 2-year, $26 million deal for a really good starter with a parachute changeup. Michael, it's a 4-seam grip he uses on that changeup. Has really tight spin, and it's hard to pick up. And he's throwing more cutters too. About double the amount of cutters that he threw last year. He threw about 8% last year, almost 15% this year. And he tries to throw it into left. He's in the mid-80s.
Yankees are 24-25, and they will try to get to the 500 mark again. Ellsbury is ready. Estrada is ready, and let's do it. Here in Toronto, the first pitch is low and away, and we're underway. Scott Barry is the home plate umpire. C.B. Buckner at first, the crew chief Fielden Culbreth at second, and Jim Reynolds is over at third. I think that got somebody sitting on the end near the Yankee dugout, and that's Starlin Castro. If they hit him or just missed him. And now Castro's changing his seat. Ground ball right side. It's a base hit for Jacoby Ellsbury to start the game off. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays defense, which is presented by Geico. In the outfield, Saunders, Pilar, and Bautista left to right. In the infield, it's Donaldson, Goins, Barney, and Smoke third to first. Russell Martin's behind the plate. David told you all about Marco Estrada on the mound. See, both teams are wearing camouflage-inspired uniforms with the New York and the number in the back in camouflage, and each team will have camouflage hats on as well. And all throughout the major leagues, that was the case. Gardner takes outside, 1-0. Brett is 0 for his last 17. He's averaging .221.
Got a good look at the Yankees' new helmet, the matte black. It's created a little stir on social media. I guess they're only going to use them on the road, I guess.
On the road, yep.
So you a fan, Michael?
You know, I don't hate it. It's a little unnerving because I'm used to the shiny helmets, but you know, I was talking about it today with Rob Cruz. I said, you know, I don't hate it. I don't. That's not a rave, but.
Would you order your Ferrari in that color?
No, I don't like matte cars. That one is a fly ball to right field. Bautista is there. He'll put it away. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. At 77 degrees, humidity 44%, 12 miles per hour the wind, mostly clear and warm. So do you like it or not?
Well, I should correct myself. It's actually midnight blue, and a lot of people confuse that with the Yankees. And you get a close look, even on their regular uniforms, the numbers in that midnight blue. I love that color. Yeah, I like midnight in general. So
I've heard. There's a strike to Beltran. You know, the funny thing about the matte helmet, there's a picture of Mickey Mantle making it out and tossing his helmet away, almost straight arming it. And the Yankees used to have matte helmets. It wasn't always shiny, so it's kind of a throwback in a sense. Beltran, 13 hits in his last 39 at-bats, has 12 homers and 31 runs batted in.
Interesting to see Carlos Beltran. You see those numbers back in the DH role here tonight. That is going to be the quandary for Joe Girardi, is the right mix. Here on turf in Toronto, maybe save Beltran's legs a little bit, obviously. When does Alex get the start at DH? It's going to be a big deal for Joe Girardi to juggle these players.
2-2.
Well, the value of Alex Rodriguez's power bat, and conversely the value of Aaron Hicks in base running and defense. How do you balance that equation?
Popped up. Russell Martin will make the play for the second half. There's Brian McCann. Brian's in a little bit of a slide. Hitless in his last 18 at bats. Down to 230. Shift is on. 3 infielders on the right side. And that one's popped up. Middle of the diamond. Smoke. Almost on the top of the mound, puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs a hit, 1 man left. Yankees nothing, and the Blue Jays coming to bat. Now they take the field, and Ivan Nova taking his warm-ups. He'll take his turn against this Blue Jays starting lineup. Jose Bautista, the right fielder, leads off. Batting second and playing third, Josh Donaldson. Edwin Encarnacion, the DH, will hit third. Cleaning up left fielder, Michael Saunders. Justin Smoke at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth and catching, Russell Martin. Darwin Barney at second base will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing center field, Kevin Pillar. Ryan Goins, the shortstop, is going to bat ninth. You see the good numbers that Bautista has against Nova.
You see the big righty Ivan Nova been rolling along so far since his re-entry into the Yankee rotation, and you see this will be his 5th start, 11th game overall, and those numbers are all progressively getting much better. Only 5 walks, and let's go ahead and check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And down and dirty, that is that sinker. His fastball, he's throwing it more often. Over 70% of the time, he's getting more ground balls with it. Almost a 3-to-1 ratio, ground ball to fly ball. Snap the hook and keep the change.
Bautista jumps on the first pitch, pops it up. McCann gives it a look. McCann runs out of room as it lands on the roof of the Yankee dugout.
Now, snap the hook, Michael. You know, that's the difference for me. What I mean by that is go ahead and snap it. Throw that curveball with conviction. When he does, it's nasty. It's good. And when he kind of feels for it, it rolls in there and he leaves it up. And keep the change. That's the changeup. He brought it along. We saw a few of them in his last start. That's a pitch he's going to need down the road.
One, 2-1. 240, 11 homers, 37 ribbies, but he has a 9-game hitting streak. And that's occurred since being moved to the leadoff spot. And here are the numbers since being moved to the top of the order in the 9 games. 308, 12 for 39, 4 homers and 9 ribbies. And John Gibbons said that once Devin Travis gets his legs under him, he's going to end up being the leadoff guy. That one is chopped to third. Headley waits for it to come down, fires to first, and gets Bautista for the first out. Let's take a look at the Yankees defense, which is presented by Geico. Why don't we start with Headley, since we've seen him with the ground ball. He's at third, Gregorius at short, Castro's at second, Teixeira's at first. In the outfield, we'll go the other way. Hicks, Ellsbury, and Gardner right to left. McCann behind the plate. David told you about Ivan Nova on the mound. Here's Josh Donaldson, starting to heat up. 6 hits in his last 13 at-bats. The Blue Jays just took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. Lost an extra inning game yesterday, which prohibited them from sweeping the Sox. Blue Jays have won 4 of 5. They've won 3 straight series as they're trying to right their season. They're 26 and 26. Rounded into the seats.
Noted about down and dirty in the scouting report, Michael, and Nova throughout his career has thrown about 60% fastballs. Has always had pretty good sink on his fastball, but this year taking it to another level. He's getting crazy movement on that pitch, better than ever, and throwing it more than ever, throwing it over 70% of the time, really living and dying down and dirty with that sinker to both sides of the plate.
The 2-1. Fouled off, 2-2. Now, last year, at this point, you can see his numbers: 14 homers and 38 ribbies. He has 13 home runs this season. The average is much lower. He's got fewer RBIs. The 2-2. Just missed.
Donaldson set the bar pretty high last year in that MVP year. That's going to be hard to duplicate.
And that got McCann.
Somebody good? Good, man?
Let that speak for itself.
Absolutely.
Three-two. Base hit up the middle. So now 7 for his last 14.
Donaldson's always been a really good fastball hitter. This sinker's meant to be down and away. Drifts over the middle of the plate. He still hits it on the ground, but hits it hard. And right back up the box.
Here's Edwin Encarnacion. Big cut. See what he's done against Nova. 11 for 32, a home run, 4 extra base hits.
Blue Jays seemingly built for this ballpark on the turf, and a lot of home runs flying out of here.
Now standing next to John Gibbons during Blue Jays batting practice today, and balls were flying out of this place, and he said, this is the best the ball's traveled all year. He said the pitchers better be sharp today because there will be home runs.
Similar weather up here as in New York. Very hot, humid.
1-2. Check swing. This Friday against the Red Sox was the first time that they opened the roof all year, and it was open all weekend and open again tonight. Great ballpark, smack dab in the middle of downtown Toronto, amidst all the skyscrapers and the CN Tower. That one is ripped into left center field, splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall. Gardner will play the carry. Donaldson is going to score easily. It's an RBI double for Encarnacion. Now the Blue Jays lead 1-0.
Another fastball that's not down and dirty. It's up and fat and drilled in the gap. And Donaldson's going to easily score as he had a head start.
.39th ribby for Encarnacion, and that'll bring up Michael Saunders. 292. 9 homers and 17 runs batted in. Kind of having the season that many have expected for a while. Same thing with the guy after him in the lineup, Justin Smoke. And a strike to Saunders. Smoke on deck. One. Nineteen pitches for Nova with 1 out. 1 out single to Donaldson. Then a double by Encarnacion made it 1-0. He's at second now. 1-2. Nova's been much better as a starter since entering the rotation. 2.74. As a reliever, 5.14. He's kind of staked a claim to the spot in the rotation. And it had to tell Nova something. He got to the ballpark today. The Yankees made the clerical maneuver of taking Severino off the DL and not calling him up to the big leagues. He was optioned to AAA. So that means that Nova has taken his spot in the rotation. There was no thought that he was going to come out anyway. Maybe somebody else will, but Nova has grabbed this job by the throat and said, I want it. First 3 starts very good. Last time his bullpen kind of betrayed him after he left the game, but he pitched well.
You can sense that Nova can control his own destiny, that's for sure. Constantly have to prove yourself in this game, as Michael Pineda is finding out now, and you get the sense that maybe Severino is tethered to Pineda and how Pineda does in his next start.
Severino had a rehab appearance yesterday, 3 shutout innings. So we'll see. Will they start him on Thursday when Pineda starts against the Tigers in the makeup game? Because if they do that, then he knows he's definitely looking over his shoulder.
It's hard to hang around in a big league rotation when your ERA is around 7.
One, 2. 2-2.
Nova mix in a changeup right there down in the dirt. It's good to see him in the first inning at least show that pitch.
Did he go? Yes, he did. So Saunders down on strikes for the second out. that's going to bring up Justin Smoke, which brings us to the Jeep Pitter Scatter Report.
Indeed it does, and you talk about half a month. In the month of May, which is almost over, Smoke is hitting .322. 5 doubles, 4 home runs. I mean, just an awesome month. Hitting frozen ropes. 20 line drives out of 50 balls put in play are line drives. That's a 40% line drive percentage versus right-handed pitchers. That's leading the major leagues so far, that 40% clip against right-handed pitchers. And also an on-base machine. He has been on base 22 out of 24 games in the month of May. So doing it all and taking over that first base spot.
And 2.
Nice little comeback potentially for Nova here. A couple really good curveballs in a row. One of the keys when you get banged around a little bit in the first inning is just stop it right there. Just keep it to 1 run.
Rounded to first. Teixeira is there, and that will do it. Right through 27 pitches. Gave up 2 hits, 1 run. Blue Jays stranded 1. We go to the second, 1-0 Toronto. RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. At what point do you start to take a player's individual hitting streak seriously? Rivera Avenue says, I'd only truly pay attention at 30, otherwise you're just too far away from the record. It's a good theory. You're at 30, you're still 26 away from Joe D. So we saw Jackie Bradley Jr.'s streak stop, but Xander Bogaerts has one now. Here's Mark Teixeira. Well, they were hoping that Mark would get back today after getting the cortisone injections in his neck. And then it became imperative that he got back today because Dustin Ackley suffered a very serious injury. So Teixeira is pretty much the only legitimate first baseman on the roster. And the backup first baseman now is Austin Romine. Line down the right field line. Tonight's injury report brought to you by Montefiore, doing more in state-of-the-art health care. So Ackley placed on the 15-day DL. Torn labrum in his shoulder. That's diving back to first base. And the Yankees called up Rob Refsnyder to make room on the roster after Ackley was put on the DL, and Meredith comes in to give us more info.
Well, Michael, Joe Girardi did not rule out surgery for Dustin Ackley. He'll actually see team physician Christopher Ahmad tomorrow. But if you think about labrums, the Yankees have suffered a couple of those injuries in the last couple of years. Mason Williams had surgery for it on August. Greg Bird out for the entire 2016 season. And after the game, Ackley said it didn't feel too bad. He didn't think it was anything too severe. But you see there where he jolts his shoulder a little bit, it wound up being probably worst case scenario with that torn labrum. So depending on exactly how long he is out and if surgery is necessary, will probably obviously impact that time frame. You mentioned the fact that Austin Romine will be the backup at first base. He does have a little bit of experience there, 23 games in the minors, also a couple in the majors. In fact, when he played this year at first base, he had to borrow Dustin Ackley's glove. Dustin Ackley did not make this trip, clearly. So Austin Romine was trying to find a glove, calling his glove company, saying, you need to get me a first baseman glove here pretty quick. But he was out there earlier today working on some footwork, taking some reps at first, saying he feels pretty comfortable and confident in the event that the Yankees need him, that he can fill in there pretty serviceably.
We'll have more from Meredith a little bit later on Severino. Castro lines one to left. Saunders there. David, it's interesting. Romine said the toughest thing he has to do at first base is stretch. He said that's the thing he's not comfortable doing. He said you got to stay in the game every second. You can see him working on some stuff before the game. He says you got to be on every pitch. You got to move. He says it's a lot more complicated than people think at first base. And a good first baseman makes a team a lot better.
Well, we know from seeing Mark Teixeira play first all these years and kind of take him for granted. Teixeira is so good over there. Every ball in the dirt he just eats up. But yeah, I can understand that from Romine, from the squat to the stretch, just two opposite movements. So certainly flexibility plays a part.
Headley with a fly ball to left center. Pilar will put it away for the final out. I want to remind everybody, follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag #YankeesForHybrid to keep the conversation going. Now, the Blue Jays team scouting report brought to you by Mohegan Sun. Unlimited possibilities await you at Mohegan Sun. Plan your trip at MoheganSun.com.
Well, yes, the lineup shakeup with Bautista at the top certainly has the offense coming. You know, they lost their 4-game winning streak yesterday, but they certainly are playing a lot better, and they've won 3 straight series, and the rotation's really saving them. Quietly, the starting rotation leads the majors in innings pitched, and also among the top in OPS allowed and 3rd in ERA.
Russell Martin pops it up. Brian McCann puts it away. 1 pitch, 1 out.
You know, I mentioned it before too with regard to the Blue Jays team. Just 11-14 at home. They need that home cooking. This ball team is built for this particular park. You talk about horses for courses. That middle of that lineup is in heaven here, being able to hit home runs the way the ball flies. And now that the roof is open, the weather's warm, you kind of anticipate that that's going to change.
Here's Darwin Barney. Not a good job for the Blue Jays. 321. You know, you saw a shot of John Gibbons, who's one of the more personable managers in the entire game. Good guy. And they kind of changed his contract around before this season. He had a contract that would put another year on the end of the contract every single season that he wasn't fired. So he would always have a 2-year deal. And the Blue Jays came to him and said, do you want to change that? We'll give you more money if you stop the rotating extensions. And Gibbons said, you know what? I said, yeah. I took the extra money and I bet on myself. He said, I figured when that contract ends, if we've won a couple of times, then my price goes way up. He said, right now, I'm not sure that's a good move. He said, but if we start winning, betting on myself is the right thing. He said, but the bad thing is, he says, every January 1st, I used to be the happiest guy in my town. I said, why? I said, January 1st, I knew I had another year. If I wasn't fired by January 1st, another year kicked in. So he does not have that anymore. He's got this year and next year, and that's it. Lined into center field. Ellsbury's there to retire Barney.
It's the anti-lame duck contract, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there seems to be a saying in sports that now has become almost a gospel. You can't go into a season with just a 1-year deal because the players wouldn't respect you. You've got to know that you're going to be here longer than just 1 year, so that's why they had the rotating extension.
And managers manage differently when their job's on the line.
Breaking ball strike to Kevin Pillar. Tied him up with that one. Count 0-2. Pillar 7 hits in his last 50 at bats. Hitting .242. He's got a piece of that to stay alive.
You know, when managers, you mentioned that with Gibbons, are of the lame duck status, it really affects how they use the bullpen. You can imagine with the Yankees bullpen, if you were a manager that was a lame duck, you'd start getting Della Betances up in the 5th inning. You're trying to win ball games to save your job.
Fly ball. Aaron Hicks is there and puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 2 here in Toronto. It's the Blue Jays 1 and the New York Yankees nothing. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. We told you Jackie Bradley Jr.'s hitting streak ended, but Xander Bogaerts now extended his hitting streak to 23 straight. White Sox lost today to Matt Harvey and the Mets, a 7-game losing streak for Robin Ventura's team. Bad news for the Mets, though. David Wright missed his 3rd straight game with a herniated disc in his neck. So there is some concern in Flushing about their captain. Didi Gregorius takes a strike. And he was starting to come around, hit the ball out, and all of a sudden his neck started to bother him.
That's obviously a chronic issue that is going to plague David Wright for a while, probably the rest of his career.
Remember when the Yankees faced Bautista or Estrada in New York? Over the first 6 innings, they managed just 2 hits, and one of those hits was a bunt. They did draw some walks against him. They finally got to him with the long ball in the 7th when he was running out of gas. That one's chopped to first. Smoke is there. 1 away. Well, last year he had a 3.77 against the Yankees. 1-2 record. So off that 1 start, 7 innings, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Opponents, the Yankees hit 160 against him. And he did give up those 2 home runs in the 7th, back-to-back shots from Headley and Gregorius.
That is the key with Marco Estrada, who's a fly ball pitcher. He's got elite spin rate on his 4-seam fastball, pitches up in the zone. Yankees have 9 home runs in 38 2/3 innings, so that's the key.
Estrada's kind of taken the Blue Jays by surprise. Gibbons said, when we got him, we didn't even know what we had. He said, if you look at him, he looks like any high school pitcher. He's not intimidating, but he gets you out, and he's tough, and he wants the ball, and he wants to give you innings. And David said a pretty friendly contract, 2 years, $26 million. Line to short. Goins on 1 hop, fields, and fires to Smoke. 2 away.
Well, with Marco Estrada, it's all about the spin, and you see a tough little hop there. Had some speed on it, and Hicks flying down the line. Bang, bang. A lot closer than you think at first glance, as you see once again. Clearly he's out, but a lot closer because of Hicks's speed.
Here's Ellsbury, single to open up the game. Shows bunt and takes the strike.
I talk about spin rate, you know, without getting too technical, but Marco Estrada spins the baseball. His 4-seam spin rate is higher than most. Certainly an elite category, that's how he becomes a fly ball pitcher, but that's why he's hard to square up. He gets a lot of pop-ups, a lot of weak contact up in the zone. And he also gets great spin on his changeup using a 4-seam grip. So it's kind of the old term, Michael, you hear the term straight change. He really does throw a straight change, not a 2-seam grip on his circle change that sinks and runs like a lot of pitchers. His is pulled a string. That's why I refer to it as a parachute changeup. Very tight spinning 4-seam spin on his changeup, and then his 4-seam fastball up in the zone. Very hard to square up. A lot of fly balls, a lot of pop-ups, a lot of weak contact.
And Ellsbury works a walk, a 2-out walk, so he's been on base both times. And that brings up Gardner, who had a fly ball to right in the 1st inning, hitless in his last 18 at bats. Brett's averages dipped to 219. A strike. Joe Girardi said today Gardner's just missing pitches. He's mechanically a little off. Runner goes. Strike. Throw to second. A stolen base for Ellsbury.
Picking a good pitch to run on a slow curveball. Martin up and does just about as well as he can do, and Ellsbury just steals it by getting a good jump and picking the right pitch.
Kept his foot on the bag. On Yesmo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Very close.
Still feel like Goins is a little too far out in front. The ball travels quicker if you wait with your glove on the bag, as opposed to reach out in front and then have to reach back with the tag, even though that ball was in the dirt. An easy short hop.
Now the tying run in scoring position, the 0-2. 1-2 on Gardner. Ellsbury seems, David, that he is right now, you can see, he's got to pull the glove back to tag him. If he had waited, maybe the ball got there sooner. Ellsbury seems to be in a groove now where he could be one of the best players on the field. When he's healthy and he's feeling at the plate, he does everything. And you realize why, you know, he makes the money that he makes and he's had such accolades. Because when he's right, he's as good as anybody could run out there.
Yeah, a daring base runner, very aggressive base stealer. So there's also a rhythm and a cadence to that as well, running the bases. Not only stealing bases, first to third, scoring from first on a double.
Dribbled slowly in front of the plate, grabbed by Martin, flips to first, and Gardner's struggles continue as a runner is stranded at second. We played 2.5 here in Toronto as the Blue Jays won and the Yankees nothing on yes. Part 5, USAA, for those who gave everything that we may breathe free, we honor you. By People's United Bank N.A., where mobile cash management keeps your business at hand. And by your Tri-Honda dealers, hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. We are at Rogers Center. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and Toronto leads the Yankees 1-0. It'll be 9-1 and 2 in the Blue Jay order against Ivan Nova, starting with Ryan Goins. That one is hammered into right center field. It's a base hit. It gets by Hicks and it goes to the wall. Goins is at second. He'll stop right there. Ryan Goins, before that double, 9 for his last 91. Hitting 151. He leads off the third with a crackling double to right center.
Yeah, when in doubt, go up there and start your swing early and look for a fastball, and he gets it right down in the chute. That's why hitters and pitchers, always a game of first. First pitch fastball, hunting one, got one, drilled it in the gap. And trying to get strike one. Pitch was designed to go down and away. You see McCann move his glove towards the middle of the plate.
Here's Bautista.
Clearly no intent, just a curveball that kind of slips out of Nova's hand. Sometimes when pitchers try to snap off a really good curve, it ends up hanging up and in because you rush through your delivery.
Rip foul. Blue Jays have a lot of players that will be free agents at the end of this year. Bautista and Encarnacion, two of the biggest names on that list. John Gibbons says, I do not sense that it affects them at all. It was kind of put to bed in spring training, and he doesn't think it's hanging over anybody's head. Check the swing. It was actually Bautista's idea to lead off. And a couple of years ago, they had some injuries, and they moved Melky Cabrera to lead off and Bautista from third to second. And Gibbons said that Bautista hated hitting second. And Russell Martin came up to Gibbons and said, you know what? JB really wants to lead off. So Gibbons kept it in the back of his head, and when the situation arose, they talked about it. He said, yeah, I definitely want to lead off. So he gets his 40th walk, which leads the American League. And that puts runners on first and second and nobody out.
Well, the leadoff batter is the first guy in the lineup to bat fifth. And a lot of times that first, fifth at bat in the game comes late in the game and can be in a key situation. So the Blue Jays are 5-10 in one-run games. So now, in those close one-run games, Bautista will be the first one to bat in the 8th or 9th inning.
And that's the way you have to look at it, because he's coming up at once every game without anybody on base. But then that last time he might not have gotten that at bat, batting third. He gets a batting leadoff, and it could be a high leverage situation with guys on base.
I've heard a couple of different figures. I know you and I were talking about it before the game, that a leadoff guy will only get maybe 30 to 40 more at bats over the course of a whole year, but plate appearances are more than at bats too. So it's the importance of that at bat late in the game. Last year, when the Blue Jays traded for Troy Tulowitzki, they batted him leadoff, and 3 out of the first 4 times the Yankees faced the Blue Jays, they were one-run games, and Tulowitzki was batting in the 8th or the 9th inning with a chance to win the game, batting in the leadoff hole. So it's give and take, pros and cons, but Bautista wants to do it. He gets on base a lot. As Michael said, might be a solo home run leading up the game with nobody on every now and then.
One and one on Donaldson. Donaldson with a single to center and scored the only run in the first inning. But the Blue Jays threatening here in the bottom of the third. 1-0, first and second, and nobody out. Castro shades up the middle. Teixeira way off the line at first. Up slowly at the third baseline. McCann will get the out at first. Runners move up. Take a look at the Honda League leaders, and this one involves RBIs in the American League as Edwin Encarnacion steps to the plate, so he could move up on that list right now. David Ortiz leads, then Cano, Encarnacion with 39, Bautista with 37, and he's tied with Trumbo and Trout.
David Ortiz quietly, or maybe not so quietly, having one of the best farewell seasons you're ever going to see. I mean, this isn't exactly like Kobe Bryant scoring 63 points in an all-star type game. He hit another homer today, and talk about going out with a bang.
Broken back, ground ball to Didi. A run will score. They'll take the out at first. That's the 40th ribby for Encarnacion on the season, second today, and it is 2-0 Blue Jays.
I think that's a fair trade if you're Edwin Encarnacion. I'll trade that broken bat for an RBI.
Here's Saunders, who struck out, and McCann wants to talk with Nova.
Actually, a good job by Ivan Nova there. Rather than throw a pitch that you're not comfortable with, get on the same page. He called timeout, initiated it, not wanting to shake McCann off with a man on second base. Particularly Bautista, the veteran, who can easily see those signs being given.
Ripped into left center on the run as Ellsbury can't get there. It'll go to the wall. Bautista scores easily. It's an RBI double for Saunders, and it's 3-0 Toronto.
Well, this one's going to hurt a little bit. McCann setting up away. Maybe just a little bit flat, not a lot of sink on it. Wasn't a terrible pitch, but Saunders has been swinging the bat well. And this is what you call going with the pitch. Drives it the other way in the gap. Not as much sink, but certainly went down and got this pitch on a first pitch fastball from Nova.
There's Justin Smoke. Pitch inside. Three runs on 4 hits for Toronto. The Yankees have just 1 hit and no runs against Estrada. And another conference with Nova. Nova had 50 pitches. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Life of a big league pitching coach. You live and die with all the pitches, all your starters. You could see Larry Rothschild grinding right now, feeling it.
Over the mound, going to be a tough play. Charging is Gregorius. He'll make it. Makes it look easy for the final out. 2 runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. We played 3-0 Toronto. Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball, blackout, and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Yankees down 3-0 as we go to the 4th. And Carlos Beltran will lead off on the Audi scoreboard. And there's a strike. 3-4-0, leading 0-1-0. Beltran fouled out to Martin in the first inning. The 0-1. 1-1. Carlos had 2 hits and 7 at-bats against Tampa Bay. 0 for 1 tonight. One and 2.
You can see with Marco Estrada, it's not about power. 88 miles an hour, they're up in the zone. Beltran laid on it.
Fouls that one away.
When the pitcher has a good spin rate, you know, we mentioned about Estrada with an elite spin rate, that just means his fastball rides. Almost looks like a rising fastball. In actuality, it drops less when you're throwing off a 10-inch mound. But it does have that riding action. It does have life to it, up in the zone.
Line drive and a base hit to right field for Beltran. Yankees' second hit of the night.
Big slow curveball from Marco Estrada, and excellent job by Beltran to go down and dig it out, stay on this pitch. Reaching. Hooks it hard over in to right center field gap for a knock.
There's Brian McCann. Brian popped up to the mound where Justin Smoke made the play in the first inning, and that extended his hitless streak to 19 straight games. 19 straight at bats, I'm sorry. 0 for 19. Ground ball. Could be 2. There's 1. And there's 2. That scored 3-6-3.
Nothing you can do right at the first baseman. Plenty of time to go either way. He could have stepped on the bag and threw to second. Chose to do it the conventional way. Couldn't have been easier.
There's Mark Teixeira. He takes a strike. Well, the Yankees need Teixeira to start hitting like Teixeira. And he continues to struggle. Struck out in the second inning, quickly down to the count 0-2. When you're struggling, you look up, you're always 0-2, 1-2. Never get yourself into a hitter's count. Spoke to him today, said the net feels much better after the cortisone shot. And he pulls that outside pitch right into the teeth of the shift, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and no one left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's 3-0 Toronto.
you're looking at long term. And long term, we have to get this straightened out. This isn't a guy that's 34 or 35 that has a long track record. It's a kid with a lot of talent. And we want the next time he comes up to be a finished product.
That was Joe Girardi before the game talking about Luis Severino. And boy, what a drop it's been. Coming out of spring training, a lot of people, a lot of scouts said he might have the best stuff of anybody on the staff. And then he stumbled out of the gate. You see the Audi scoreboard, 3-0 Toronto. We bring in Meredith again. Meredith, the Yankees made a definitive statement today, taking him out the DL and sending him down to the minors.
Well, they want him to get right, and they're looking at this as a long-term thing, a long-term solution to make him better later. And in the course of that conversation with Joe Girardi, he mentioned a guy by the name of Roy Halladay. If you remember, he was sent down, came back much better. We all know how that turned out. He said sometimes players go through this. This is not abnormal, and it's better for him to try to fix it down there where the stage isn't quite as big than to come up here and continue to have those struggles and those failures. And at that point, you wonder, does it start to mess with a guy's psyche? So Joe Girardi said he needs him to be healthy, which we know he is right now, and also he needs better command of not only his fastball but his breaking stuff. David, I'm sure you can talk about this a little bit further, but his slider just did not look as sharp, and he didn't have a lot of confidence in that changeup.
Well, absolutely, Meredith. I mean, you bring up all great points, and the thing that stands out to me from that press conference that I heard from Joe Girardi is, when he comes back up, we want him to be a finished product. And I mean, that says it all. He's not a finished product yet. He's very talented. He is the future. But he needs a better feel for his secondary pitches. And the only place to work on that is down there. So when he comes back up, they want a finished product. That says it all to me.
And there were some questions. Michael Pineda, obviously in a similar boat, struggling a lot as well as Darwin Barney, who manages a single here. And he was asked, why not send Pineda down? Why is it Severino? And he said Pineda's track record a little bit larger body of work for him. The Yankees felt that he is getting the strikeouts. You see it at times with him. They think he's more easily fixable at this level and in between starts. And Severino, they felt, could benefit a little bit more from going to the minors just because he is such a young guy yet. But you look at the way he came up last year, 21 years old, pitches to a 2.89 ERA, and this is certainly not the way he had hoped to start his sophomore season.
Here's Kevin Pillar. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on a miss. Throw to second. Got him. Good tag by Castro to catch Barney stealing.
Well, just a fantastic play by McCann. Check him out on the swing through. On the money. I mean, just drills it right down there, even though it's up the line a bit and plenty of time. Lightning quick release. Brian McCann, that is just outstanding, and easily pegs him at second base. Watch how quick, through the swing too. Ball's away too. I mean, look how quickly that releases. The degree of difficulty on that play for Brian McCann is very high. You got to reach all the way over inside to get that pitch, get the glove all the way back over, and make that kind of throw. Pretty impressive.
Count 0-2 now on Pillar. Bottom of the fourth, 3-0 Toronto. Grounded to third. Headley gets a nice hop. And that will do it. We'll hear more from Meredith on the post-game show. No runs, a hit, and nobody left on base. We go to the fifth inning, 3-0 Blue Jays. Rogers Center, we go to the 5th inning. It's 3-0 Toronto on the Cadillac scoreboard. Toronto with 5 hits, Yankees 2. A couple of singles, Ellsbury and Beltran. So Starlin Castro will lead off against Marco Estrada. David, I wanted to go a little further into the Severino situation. The Yankees, I thought, made a statement today with what they did, because Luis was on the DL, and you could have kept running him out there for 30 days in rehab assignments, and he could have still not been sent down. But I think they wanted a wake-up call. Listen, you didn't perform well. This is what happens when you don't perform well. Do you agree?
Absolutely, that's part of the equation as well, and they also would like to get him in AAA and get a better read on him. Get him activated in AAA now, because you might need him soon. You know, we've already mentioned that Pineda's on watch right now. He's really struggling. I think the problem is if you pull the plug on Michael Pineda at this point and try to send him to AAA, you may lose him for a while. His psyche would be a big blow.
And he does have an option remaining, by the way. He could be sent down, and they would not lose him, but they might lose him emotionally.
I mean, Severino's still very young. You know, he can easily bounce back, and he does need a little work on the secondary pitches.
Castro pops it up, right side. Smoke gives it a look, and out of play. Now here's another question, though. Then why was he so dominant last year, the kid?
It was the first time around the circuit. It was a short sample size. He pretty much got away with his fastball last year. It was explosive, and he caught a lot of hitters off guard. Believe me, the second time through the circuit and the third time teams start to see you, it becomes more difficult.
First full count for Estrada, and the first walk. Remember, when he pitched against the Yankees 5 days ago, he did walk 4. So this is the first walk, no, the second walk today. He did walk Ellsbury, who stole a base in the 3rd.
Get a better read on Severino, just to finish that point, Michael. You get a better read on Severino in AAA as opposed to A-ball. Let's find out right now against the best competition other than the big leagues. And certainly Michael Pineda knows he needs a good start, that this can't go on much longer. If the Yankees do make a change with Pineda, whether it's the bullpen or it's an option to AAA, that's going to be a devastating blow to him. It's going to be a while before you can sort of revive him.
Headley pops it up, shallow left center, and the catch is made by Goins for the first out.
Not a lot of hard contact once again from the Yankee lineup against Estrada, or really any lineup against Estrada. Just a lot of soft contact, easy pop-ups, fly balls, into the back ground balls off of that changeup. There's nothing that really wows you about Estrada other than that changeup. I think it's one of the best changeups in the big leagues. Opponent's just hitting 184 against him, which is the lowest in the American League. When you think about those sorts of numbers, Michael, you think Chris Sale, you think dominating pitchers that are hard to hit. Marco Estrada right up there.
Rounded to short. There's 1, and there's 2. Second straight inning, he gets a double play. And the Yankees are trailing 3-0 halfway through. Old Timers Day with the Yankees. Come see your favorite Yankees legends put on the pinstripes again and take the field at Yankee Stadium. Relive memories of your favorite former Yankees and make new memories with your family. Get your Old Timers Day tickets today at Yankees.com or by calling Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. 70th Annual Old Timers Day. Ivan Nova about to start the bottom of the 5th on the Cadillac scoreboard. 3-0 Toronto. Goins, Bautista, and Donaldson. Goins doubled on the first pitch he saw in the 3rd inning, came around to score. This pitch outside, 1-0. Goins has had one of those years offensively. He's had streaks of 0 for 15, 0 for 18, 0 for 21. And now he's 10 for his last 92. Shows bunt, takes outside, 2-0. Troy Tulowitzki is on the DL, and that has been his problem for the last couple of years, dating back to when he was with Colorado. Just can't stay healthy anymore. Fly ball, deep left, Gardner back on the track, looking up, see ya! Ryan Goins with a home run. And it's 4-0 Toronto. So a guy who came into the game hitting 151 as a double and a home run against Nova.
Indeed, Michael, as you see, it's kind of flat. It's out there. Outer third and Goins, you said it in BP. John Gibbons, the manager, said it as well. The ball's flying. So Goodwood and get it up in the air, and the ball's going to take off. And Goins doesn't really have this kind of power, but hit that one perfectly.
There's a strike to Bautista. Count 1-1. Take a look on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Tri-State Mercedes-Benz dealers. One. Grounded foul.
Certainly not the same type of quality to the sink on Nova's fastball tonight that we've seen previously in his last 3 starts. Good looking curveball there to come back. Time you get Bautista swinging like that, then you know that that was a high quality pitch.
Here's Donaldson. 1-0. Donaldson singled and scored in the 1st and tapped one in front of the plate, gunned down by McCann in the 3rd. Four 0 Toronto in the bottom of the 5th inning. 6 hits for the Blue Jays. Yankees have 2, both singles. Nice play on the short hop, little ice cream cone, but Headley stays with it for the 2nd out.
By some metrics, Michael, Chase Headley's had the most productive defensive game this year for the Yankees. It's been night and day compared to last year. His throwing problems, a thing of the past, but he has been picking it all year long. And some of the defensive metrics are showing up that way as he's the most valuable defender so far this year.
Coming off a season where he had a career high 23 errors at 3rd. And he came into spring training and really worked hard on it. And they felt most of it was positioning, and most of those errors came by not having his feet in the right place when he made throws.
During the early part of the year, during his offensive struggles, his defense is what saved him. Now his bat has started to come alive as well. That's the guy they thought they got when they signed. You know, what he has shown now with the flashes of getting the offense going and solid defender at third. And if you look up and down the Yankees organization, there's really nobody else to replace him at third.
Swing and a miss. Encarnacion down on strike, so he recovers after the home run by Goins to strike out Bautista, get Donaldson the ground to third, and then strike out Encarnacion. We go to the sixth. Starting pitchers brought to you by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. CC Sabathia has been pitching so well, pitching to a 2.83 ERA against Jay Happ. He's pitched well against the Yankees, against everybody. 6-2, 3.2 R. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Yes. There's Aaron Hicks. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Nine, 1, and 2 in the Yankees order here in the sixth. 2 walks, 2 singles for the Yankees against Estrada. That changeup bedeviling the Yankees.
Well, it is a really good one, and he throws it the most of any pitcher in the American League.
And then comes back with a fastball that probably looked like 95 miles an hour. 1 away.
That's exactly right, Michael. This is good morning, good afternoon, and good night. 3 pitches right on the black. Russell Martin framing it up. 1 down.
Ellsbury lofts it foul and out of play. Ellsbury singled in the first, then walked and stole second in the third. And when Ellsbury got to second, that's the Yankees' only runner in scoring position tonight. So there's got to be some concern about the offense when they had 1 hit yesterday, and they were fortunate enough that Eovaldi pitched very well, and then the 3 at the end of the bullpen just shut down the Rays. But now they have 2 hits tonight. And although Estrada's a fine pitcher, he's not Sandy Koufax. Their offense has struggled for much of the year. I mean, you're missing a component of A-Rod and Teixeira. Guys that were so important to what they did last year, and all of a sudden they have no numbers this season.
Yeah, guys that combined for over 60 home runs.
Fly ball center field. Pilar, almost in dead center, makes the play for the second out. And you don't want to put all the blame on two guys, but as David said, what they contributed last year compared to what they've done this year, a stark contrast. And the guy at the plate, is carrying an 0 for 19 into this at bat. He's one of the table setters as well, and his average right now is at 218.
Which is what made that winning streak that got the Yankees back up to 500, even though they've dipped down below here coming into this game. 24 and 25. Very impressive. They can tread water and hope that everybody gets healthy and the offense gets going, then they could be right in the thick of this.
And a lot of that winning streak was because they got really good starting pitching. And they hit enough to win, but they're not scaring opponents anymore offensively.
Granted, the Yankees did catch the A's at the right time when they're beat up by injuries as well and got that big sweep.
We're in the 6th inning. It's 4-0 Blue Jays. 2 outs.
But when you're struggling offensively, Michael, and you are absolutely correct, this 4-0 lead feels very large. And not a lot of hard contact once again off of Marco Estrada. A lesson in deception on the mound. Everybody loves the power. It's nice to have a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but Marco Estrada all about deception.
Alan Cockrell giving some instruction to Chase Headley. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the 6th. And the pitch. Grounded up the middle. Goins is there. And he gets Gardner for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. So the Yankees go down in order. We go to the 6th inning. 4-0 Toronto. Live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take the Yankees on Yes with you wherever you go. Available only for DirecTV, Optimum, Time Warner Cable subscribers. Michael Saunders takes a ball from Nova as the bottom of the 6th is underway. Blue Jays cleanup batter had an RBI double his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Struck out in the first inning against Nova. There's a strike. Fouled off the end of the bat. 1-2.
It's really been this Blue Jay offense. You know, we noted, Michael, and talked about it in our pregame show about the offense kind of struggling the first part of the year for the Blue Jays. Their starting rotation really carrying them. It's really been this guy, Saunders and Smoke, who have lifted this offense, kind of carried them to a certain extent until Bautista and Encarnacion and Donaldson started to hit the way they can normally hit. Over the last 10 games, obviously, the home runs are up, the runs are up, they're starting to come around.
Line to right field, and Hicks is there to make the play. 1 down. Well, coming into this game in May, 38 home runs for the Blue Jays. That was 3rd in the American League. Tampa Bay with 43. That's hard to believe when you look at their lineup. And Boston 39. So a home run today by Goins, and the Blue Jays have 39 in the month of May, and 1 more day in this month. And here's Smoke. Two and 1.
Good looking changeup from Nova right there. And as I said in his scouting report, keep the change because you're going to need it. And here it is. This is a pitch that fades down and away, way out in front of Smoke. And that's a very serviceable changeup. Brian McCann is very wise to keep Nova in the mindset of needing that pitch and continue to use it. And right here's a great time to be able to mix that pitch in and work on it. Down 4-0, nobody on base. A left-handed hitter with power.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out.
One of the keys for a starting pitcher in the big leagues is it's easy to pitch when you have your good stuff. If Nova's sinker's diving and he's got his good curveball, that's probably enough. But in these in-between starts like tonight, that's when you do need that 3rd pitch, when you need to make adjustments. That's the problem we've seen from a couple other pitchers in Pineda and Severino, is the inability to have another weapon to go to be able to make adjustments on the fly a little quicker to limit the damage.
Just missed. Smoke finally realizing potential that Texas saw in him. First round pick in 2008 out of South Carolina. The 11th pick overall. Strike 3. Smoke down looking. Does not like the call.
A couple real close pitches. This is another changeup. You see the changeup grip. It's diving down. McCann does a great job at the bottom of the zone, making it look better than it is.
Smoke had a legitimate beef there.
I thought the previous pitch, the fastball that was at the top of the zone, was probably a strike. So 1 for 2.
Russell Martin lines one to left field. A base hit for the Blue Jays catcher. He's 1 for 3. Here is Darwin Barney. Barney's 1 for 2 tonight. Nova about to throw his 90th pitch. Nobody up in the Yankee bullpen at this point. 4-0 Toronto in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runner on first with 2 outs. And now some stirring in the Yankee bullpen. Pilar is on deck. Nick Goody is up. There's a strike to Barney. 3-1. Breakdown of pitches by inning. The 4th helped out a lot with just 8. Chopped to short. Oh, tough hop. Nice play by Gregorius to end the inning. On the charge, the ball took off, and he somehow came down with it and fired a strike to Teixeira to get Barney. Look at that play. Very athletic as Gregorius makes the final act. We will go to the 7th. It's 4-0 Toronto. Our fallen soldiers. We go to the 7th inning. Carlos Beltran will lead off against Marco Estrada. Now, just to amplify that point, you know, Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial start of summer, and people have barbecues and they go out to the shore, either the Jersey Shore or the Hamptons. But really, it is about remembering those that made the ultimate sacrifice to give us the freedoms that we have to enjoy a baseball game on Memorial Day. So our hearts go out to the families that have lost soldiers in battle. And we also think of the men and women that are in harm's way right now protecting our freedom. So Memorial Day, that's where our thoughts should be. One-two to Beltran. Swing and a miss. There's that change way out in front. This replay brought to you by New York Presbyterian, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Amazing things are happening here. This is pretty amazing play, David.
It really is. I mean, it takes some incredible athleticism to even think about making this play, and this shows you the potential that Didi Gregorius has.
I think that hit the lip of the artificial turf and bounded high. I was surprised last week, David. I'm sure you heard this as well. We think of Didi as really an outstanding defender, and McCann's struggles continue. He's now 0 for his last 21. Joe Girardi called him out because he said Didi can be better and he can concentrate better in the field, and we expect better from him. GMC scoreboard 4-0 Toronto.
One of the things that Derek Jeter was so adept at is just making all the routine plays. It's what Gene Stick Michael talked about, a high concentration player. It's what they used to recruit. That's what they look for. Didi Gregorius, I'm not saying he's not that, but certainly I think that's what Joe Girardi is referring to, is the anticipation part of the game. Making all the routine plays because you're always ready and always prepared. It's part of the game that can be improved and worked on. Looking one step ahead, knowing what you're going to do if the ball's hit to you ahead of time. On the talent scale, Didi Gregorius is as good as anybody in the game. That play we just saw proves that. And the rocket for an arm too, as well.
I think the thing that stands out to the Yankees is Didi has 8 errors, and they just think he's so much better than that. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Teixeira at the plate. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Now 0 for 3 as he goes down swinging. And Estrada has been pretty strong. He's retired 8 in a row. Time for the 7th inning stretch. And the thing that makes it really stand out, he did it just 5 days ago, and the Yankees obviously didn't pick anything up from that performance. So they've got a couple of innings left as Kevin Pillar leads off against Ivan Nova. 1-0. GMC scoreboard, 4-0 Toronto.
A little surprising. Joe Girardi trying to squeeze a little more time out of Ivan Nova. Goody's warming up, backing him up right now.
There's a strike to Pilar, 2-1. Time for the game summary, brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. It's 4-0 Toronto on 7 hits. Yankees have 2. Nova pitching into the 7th. Estrada has already given 7 with 2 hits. Encarnacion a double and 2 ribbies. Goins a solo home run, his 3rd of the year. Right off the thumbs.
It's almost self-preservation. Either you hit it or be hit by it. It's remarkable that Pilar is able to get any wood on that at all.
We talked about Estrada, David, facing the Yankees 5 days ago on May 25th at the stadium. Only one Blue Jay pitcher in their short history, 40 years now, has beaten the Yankees. Just 5 days between starts, and that's Dave Stieb. Did it in 1982.
That's good company, because Stieb was really good in his prime. One of the best sliders I ever saw from Dave Stieb.
3-2.
Ivan Nova has now thrown 100 pitches on the night.
Driven into right center. It's a base hit, cut off by Hicks. Pilar's going for 2. The throw, it hits him, so he's in there with a double.
Well, this is the kind of base runner Pilar is. He's thinking double right now. He's not going to hesitate. The type of player that's going to push the envelope every which way but loose, and underneath the tag looked like the ball actually grazed off of him, as we know that Hicks has got a cannon. Once he sets and throws, looks like it's on the money. But the key obviously is Pilar out of the box.
And that out of the box double forces Joe Girardi to make the Verizon call to the bullpen. Nova's night is over. The Yankees will go to a reliever. They're down 4-0, trying to hold it right here. Continue their battle with the Blue Jays in another showdown here at Rogers Center. Coverage starts at 6:30 with the Chevy pregame. Then we're back with the call right here on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Yankee offense is stalled tonight, so they want to keep it right here at 4-0 to have any chance. They bring in Nick Goody for his 10th game of the year. And he'll face the number 9 batter in the Blue Jays order. That's Ryan Goins, who certainly gave Nova more trouble than you would think. A double and a home run. That's the numbers right now on Nova. The runner at second base is his responsibility. Goins shows bunt, takes high.
It's kind of the story of Ivan Nova's night, right, Michael? You mentioned it. Bautista's leading off now with the vaunted top of the lineup, but it's really the bottom of the lineup that hurt Nova. Pilar and Goins and Barney, for that matter. 4 of the 8 hits out of the bottom 3 holes in the Blue Jay lineup.
Count 2-0. Took the bunt off and let him swing at a fastball. 2-1. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's Toronto 4 and the Yankees nothing. Pilar with a line drive to right center that he turned into a double with his speed. And there's a bunt to Headley. He has one play. He'll make it at first, sacrifice 5-3, moving Pilar over to third. Well, that bunt now forces the Yankees to bring the infield in with Bautista at the plate.
Well, this is perfectly executed, just the way you teach. Get it down, make the third baseman field this. Once you get enough mustard on this bunt to force the third baseman to field it, mission is accomplished. And also with a little bit of speed, putting some stress on Headley, who made a nice little play.
Infield in for Jose Bautista. And the pitch is in. 1-0. Missed outside. 2-0.
The situation Bautista's been so good at his entire career is early in the count. It's hard to get him to chase breaking balls. Once you get to 2 strike, he's more prone to do so, but really keyholing a fastball right now.
And David, he's such a better hitter with runners on base. He's a .238 hitter overall. When he comes up with runners on, he's a .333 hitter. With 9 homers and 35 runs batted in. Fouled the fastball straight back. There's Richard Blyer. And warming up, heart pounding. When he comes in, this would be his major league debut.
Chances are that's going to happen tonight.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Goody as he gets Bautista. 2 down. Now the Yankees could back the infield up.
You can see Bautista shaking his head. He got caught guessing right here. Sitting on a slider, guarding against a slider, and gets beat with a fastball.
Here's Josh Donaldson, 1 for 3 tonight. One and 0. Swing and a miss.
Seems like Goody gets more and more comfortable with each passing outing. And the quality of his stuff looks better as well.
High pop-up. Castro makes a call on the catch for the final out, so they survive the double by Pilar. No run to hit. One man left. Let's go to the 8th inning. A beautiful night in Toronto. 4-0 Blue Jays. New York City FC hosts Real Salt Lake at Yankee Stadium. Watch the game on Yes, presented by Etihad Airways at 11:30, immediately following Yankees coverage, or stream it live at 7 on Fox Sports Go. Well, Marco Estrada, as you can see on the Hyundai scoreboard, leading the Yankees 4-0. And Starlin Castro jumps on the first pitch and fouls it off right side. And the 0-1 to Castro. 1-1. Castro stood between the Yankees getting no hit and a victory yesterday against Tampa Bay. His 2-run home run gave the Yankees the win with just 1 hit. And tonight they have just 2 hits. Last time the Yankees won a game with just 1 hit, you have to go back to 1914 against the Cleveland Naps. And that was the second game of a doubleheader in 1914 and only lasted 6 innings. And there's a walk. And that game was called due to darkness. There were no lights at the ballpark.
Just remarkable when you think about it. A 1-hitter and win. Tribute to Nathan Eovaldi and the Yankee bullpen. That's 2 nights in a row where the Yankees lineup has been dominated by a right-handed starter.
Here's Headley. 0-1.
One of the ways you evaluate starting pitchers is game score, a system invented by Bill James, which is basically a point system. Average is about 50, 51, and you add and subtract for good things and bad things that happen. Ivan Nova had a 43 tonight, which is below average. About right. Marco Estrada working on a 74 right now, so well above average. In the superb categories, he's working on a 2-hit shutout here.
Well, he wants to throw the ball, and the Yankees smart there to step out. Headley trying to disrupt his rhythm. All the way. One and two on Headley. Headley tonight, fly ball to center and a pop up to short. Three infielders on the right side for the switch hitting Headley, batting left-handed. And the 1-2. Strike three. Headley down looking and does not like the call.
When you have a pitcher throwing strikes all night working on a shutout, you're going to get some borderline calls. It's that cut fastball we talked about. Certainly from the overhead has plenty of plate. From the side, probably high enough as well. And Estrada continues to dazzle.
Here's Didi Gregorius. Didi's 0 for 2. Grounded out to first in the third, wrapped into a 6-4-3 double play in the fifth. Had a home run against Estrada 5 days ago. So did Headley. We're in the top of the 8th inning. First game of a 3-game set between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. And the 4th game of a 10-game 4-city road trip for the Yankees. There's a strike, 2-1. Yankees need base runners.
Gregorius not known for working walks. He's clearly taking all the way there on 2-0.
Usually, David, when you see a team 5 days ago, they're going to go to school on you a little bit, so you've got to even be better. And he pitched very well at Yankee Stadium, and if anything, he's much better than he was at Yankee Stadium. And the element of surprise is gone, so they know all your stuff. They've seen your stuff. It's like a pitcher who throws 3 straight changeups. Each one has to be better than the next. Well, when you face the team in back-to-back starts, you've got to be better than you are in the previous one. Aaron Loop is up.
It's just not any changeup. It's one of the best in the game. He throws it more than anybody else in the game, about 30% of the time. But that changeup, the quality of the spin off of the high fastball is upper echelon in my mind. When you talk about changeups around the league, who has the best? Marco Estrada's in a handful of people in that argument.
This is only the 2nd full count that he's had tonight. And it ends with a strikeout of Gregorius.
You could see Gregorius just completely befuddled with that swing on a fastball. After the previous changeup, swinging when the ball's almost in the mitt. with a half-hearted effort. So clearly just abused.
6 strikeouts for Estrada. 3 walks. Here's Aaron Hicks. He's 0 for 2. Line down the left field line, and that is a base hit. That'll go into the corner and up against the wall. Castro will stop at third. At second with a double is Hicks. And the Yankees have runners on second and third and 2 outs. Yankees' 3rd hit of the night and first extra base hit.
Nice job by Aaron Hicks going with this pitch away, giving the Yankees some hope here. Slashing double down the line, putting a little stress on Estrada here. 1 swing away from getting the Yankees right back in this game.
Now John Gibbons has a decision to make. He has Estrada on the mound. He's got Loop ready in the bullpen, and you've got 2 lefties coming up in Ellsbury and Gardner, but they're going to let Estrada face Ellsbury, who's 1 for 2 with a walk. One and 0.
Marco Estrada is going to work from the windup here. As Michael said, there's Aaron Luke ready to go, the lefty. It's not going to hold the runner on at second, so any base hit's going to easily score 2.
2-0.
When you're a starting pitcher or you're a pitcher of any sort, and you're pitching from the windup on second and third, you're conceding the second base runner.
And Estrada is going to work out of trouble. Ellsbury pops it up to Goins, and that'll do it. So Gibbons goes by the gut, does not bring in the lefty to face the lefty, and Estrada gets Ellsbury, the Yankee strand 2. Of Yankeeography, Andy Pettit, and relive the famed pitcher's career in pinstripes, now featuring personal reflections from his final extraordinary start and his honored day at the stadium. Watch the premiere Wednesday at 11 right here on Yes. Well, Nick Goody got out of the jam in the 7th, and now he'll face Edwin Encarnacion. Pitches high will start the bottom of the 8th inning. And a strike.
You see a pitcher with a towel on his arm, that means he's still in this game. Looking for a shutout. Here's Marco Estrada.
Well, the bullpen's the weakest part of this team. It's also been used a lot over the last 5 games. So if they could save an arm for tomorrow, they might send him out there again. And as David said, if the towel's on the arm, he's still in there, which is strange because he was shaking hands at the end of the top of the 8th inning. Got a hug from Russell Martin as Encarnacion down on strikes.
It's just a hunch. You know, I mean, he could not a mind reader, obviously. I mean, he could be done as well. Usually a pitcher, when he's done, will go get some ice on his arm, or even if he hangs in the dugout, maybe let his game face come down. But you keep your arm wrapped up there, and because you know, generally because you're still using it.
That's going to do it for Nick Goody. And right now, the thrill of a lifetime for Richard Bleier coming in to make his Major League debut in Toronto. Chance, and Richard Bleier gets it his first Major League appearance here against the Blue Jays. His numbers at AAA as a starter: 6 games, 5 starts, 2-2, 2.50, a hit per inning. Doesn't strike out many. He's a ground ball guy. And Meredith Marakovich joins us. And Meredith, he also has a little bit of a New York connection.
A little bit. His father, Lawrence, actually grew up in Brooklyn, New York, was a huge Yankees fan, watched Mantle, loved Maris, loved Whitey Ford, so he joked that he might be more excited than Richard is. But Richard did call it, quote, a dream come true. So there's definitely probably a lot of nerves and excitement out there on the mound right now. But Joe Girardi gave his scouting report on Bleier, and he said he's a ground ball guy, ton of ground balls. He was also a starter, so he's built up if they were to need him to give multiple innings, which it doesn't look like that's the case for tonight. And he's also out of Florida Gulf Coast University. He's the first guy since Chris Sale and Casey Coleman in 2010 to make their Major League debut.
And Meredith and Joe Girardi's scouting report right on the mark as Saunders grounds out to second for the second out of the inning, the first out of Bleier's career. And Brian McCann heads up, gets the baseball, and rolls it into the Yankee dugout as a keepsake, I think, for Richard's dad from Brooklyn. His parents are actually in Tampa. He didn't get into a game in Tampa. Don't know if they made the trip here to Toronto. Here's Justin Smoke, and another ground ball. Backing up is Didi. And Richard Bleier gets his feet wet in the big leagues by retiring the 2 batters he faces. And we go to the 9th inning. There's a big smile as a dream is realized. Is Estrada coming out, or will they go to the bullpen? Rover drive of the game, David.
Well, it's going to come in the 5th inning with nobody on and no out, and a first pitch sinker that doesn't sink. And Ryan Goins the other way. A rare display of opposite field power. The Land Rover drive of the game.
Oh, Richard Bleier getting congratulations on the Yankee bench. You feel a lot better if the Yankees rally here. And they'll have to do it against Aaron Loup, and pinch hitting for Gardner is Rob Refsnyder. So Gardner 0 for 3, now 0 for his last 20, and they go to Refsnyder, who was called up today to replace Ackley on the active roster. It's the second game for Loup. There's the line score: 8 hits for the Blue Jays, 3 for the Yankees. Was activated from the DL May 28th. He had left elbow soreness. And he made his major league debut. Struck out both batters he faced on May 28th. Refsnyder's had 3 at bats so far this year. His second go around with the Yankees, 1 hit. Fouled it back, and a fan made a nice play.
One of the loudest cheers of the night.
Crowd of 32,921. You would think, David, that Rob Refsnyder should grab a first baseman and learn how to play that position. He'd make himself even more valuable.
Well, you know, at this point, you know, he's gone back to play a little bit of outfield, which he played in college. So he does have the ability to play second, third, and right field now. And it can only help. The more versatile you are, the more valuable you become to your team, especially nowadays with the big bullpens. The extra player on just about every team, certainly in the American League, is going to be in the bullpen. So if you're a utility guy, it's better to be a super utility guy.
Drew Storen up. 3-2. Still 3-2. First game of this 3-game set. Yankees trail 4-0. We are in the 9th. Refsnyder pinch hitting for Gardner.
Remember, Refsnyder was the starting second baseman in the wild card playoff game last year.
Swing and a miss. Well, stick around after the final out for the WB Mason postgame on Yes. Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry, and John Flaherty are back in the studio with highlights and analysis from tonight's contest. Plus, get the reaction from the clubhouse from Meredith Morongo. It's all coming up only on Yes. Beltran 1 for 3 tonight.
These are kind of like the games they used to play back in the 50s, right? 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2:05. I mean, throw it and swing it.
You know, around baseball, you're almost seeing some of this, David, because you almost don't want to wear out the starter and get into the bullpen. They'd rather take their chance against the starter. In the past, you'd want to build up pitch count and get into the underbelly. The underbelly's still pretty good now in the bullpen.
No doubt about it. Great point, Michael. And a lot more first pitch swingers, too. I think a lot of the data is showing that sometimes the best pitch you're going to see might be that first pitch fastball. So a lot of hitters around the league are looking to swing the bat sooner and earlier, and a prime case of that is Jackie Bradley Jr., who's swinging at a lot of first pitches nowadays, very aggressive in the batter's box, and it's certainly served him well.
And that got Beltran on the foot, so he's going to take first.
Look, like that sweeping slider from Loup right on the back toe.
So Beltran at first, that's going to bring up McCann, and Bryan looking to snap out of this slump. He's 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for his last 21. So you want to see an offense struggling. Your number 2 hitter is 0 for 20. Your number 4 hitter, your cleanup guy, is 0 for 21. You're not going to score many runs that way. A strike to McCann. Two.
A tough pitcher for McCann to break out on too as well. I mean, Loup, one of the tougher lefties around with that sidearm sweeping slider.
Well, if they could get Loup back and healthy from the elbow soreness, they can take a step toward strengthening the weakest part of their team. I mean, they have more innings out of their starters than any team in baseball. They have 343 in the third innings, more than any other team starters. And a lot of it's out of necessity. Now, yeah, they've pitched well, but while you might see Joe Girardi take a starter out after 6 innings because he knows he has lights out relievers in the bullpen, John Gibbons doesn't, so he's going to extend guys. 2-2. Driven out to center field and deep. Going back, Pilar. Still back. Turning. Looking. And that ball is gone. It went off the back wall and bounded back onto the field. A long 2-run home run for Brian McCann. What a way to break a slide. And the Yankees are on the board, and it's 4-2 Toronto.
No doubt about it, Michael. This is a blast. A fastball out over the plate from Aaron Loup. Full extension from McCann to dead central, and no doubt about it, this is way back. I think it hit off the facade of the restaurant, maybe even the glass up top. Yes, the blue facade just under the glass from the center field restaurant, and that is a monstrous blast from a left-handed batter.
Well, that forces John Gibbons to go to his right-hander, Drew Storen. Mark Teixeira coming up. Yankees now down by 2. Drew Storen against Mark Teixeira, and the first pitch is outside. 1-0. Storen has had his share of struggles to a 7.02 ERA. And he goes 2-0 on Teixeira. So did McCann's home run wake him up? One more base runner, and the tying run comes to the plate. That one is wrapped to right field. It is past Bautista and goes up against the wall. And Teixeira has himself a double. He hit that ball very well and just past a lunging try of Jose Bautista. And the crowd getting antsy with this Blue Jay bullpen.
Marco Estrada went 8 quiet innings, and then now all of a sudden some thunder here in the 9th. Michael's right, that ball was drilled. It's Bautista. A lunging effort, nowhere really near to that.
Here's Starlin Castro. He's 0 for 1 with 2 walks. He had the big home run yesterday, a 2-run shot that gave the Yankees the win, the only hit in the game. Teixeira leads off second. He's going to try to tie it there, count 0-1. Fly ball, right field. Bautista makes the play, and the Yankees are down to their final out. That'll bring up Chase Headley. Chad Jurado is up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Left-hander. Headley is switch hitter batting from the left side. He's 0 for 3 tonight. He's the tying run at the plate. And a strike. Chavez joins Jurado.
See the quandary Gibbons has, really trying to piece together the back end of his bullpen right now.
Now the Yankees down to their final strike. He struck him out. And that will do it. As Headley down on strikes, and the Yankees fall short with their 9th inning rally. In the 9th, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. So the Yankees lose 4-2 in the first game of this 3-game set here in Toronto. Goins had a big night. We go back to the studio. Bob Lorenz, John Flaherty, and Jack Curry will set the table.